right, guys. Hi, I'm Kristina.
And I'm Tammy.
We're gonna go ahead and teach you guys a little bit about crystals today. This is not an all-encompassing thing because I don't think anybody could sit down and go through everything you could possibly ever learn about the chakras. This is gonna be enough for you to get started, maybe whet your appetite a little bit so that you can jump in there and research on your own. We do have some beautiful stones here today. We've got a tapestry, we've got a couple of pieces of literature, so we'll go ahead and put all of that information in the description below. So we're only dealing with the 7 major chakras today. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and settle in. Let's learn a little bit. So, as I didn't even let you talk.
No, I was going to say that what I was going to do is I'm going to be the student that asks the questions.
Okay.
First of all, when we think about the word chakra, what is that?
Okay. Chakra is Sanskrit, and it literally means a wheel, because your chakras are wheels of energy that line up with your spine. So your root chakra is all the way down in the very base of your spine, and we go all the way up until we hit the crown chakra at the top of your head, right at the crown of your head. So when you think of a chakra, think of a wheel or a ball of light, and that's where we came up with the name.
And how significant are the balancing of the chakras to our overall health?
Wow. So when your chakras are out of alignment, we just finished a yoga class, our first yoga class since the quarantine was lifted. So bear with me, I'm covered in blanket fuzz. But when your chakras are out of alignment, in the secular world or in just your regular day-to-day, you feel off. And the way that the chakras work is, if anything is blocked at the bottom, the energy doesn't flow through the top. So you have to have everything in alignment and open for that energy to flow. And do you ever have those days when everything is just clicking and everything is on point, you feel great, you're doing great? That's your chakra alignments just open right up. So I would say it's pretty important.
And let's just go through each of the 7 chakras that you're talking about from root to crown, and just discuss some things about them that's pretty helpful to all of us to realize. I mean, when people think about this whole thing, it's important for us, even in our yoga practices, to be mindful of all of those chakras, because isn't the purpose of yoga to awaken all of them? At the end, we're supposed to feel alive and awaken, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's why we pair the physical practice with the spiritual and emotional practice at the end. We typically call it shavasana, but it's just a period of stillness and meditation so that everything can just kind of settle into place. For our chakras, I'm going to go ahead and use this beautiful tapestry that we got at a local metaphysical shop. It's since closed down, unfortunately, but Champa's shop down in Destin, Florida. Actually, this is hanging in your meditation room.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go, and Tammy, if you could demonstrate on the body where the chakra is.
Absolutely.
We've got our root chakra, which is right at the base of your spine. Now your chakras go from back to front. So even though it's at the base of your spine, it's also right below your sacrum.
Exactly,
so
exactly.
Right there.
And it affects your legs. If your legs are off, like say for example, you're going through hip dysfunction or knee issues and all of that, could we possibly say it's because the root chakra is not open or it's unbalanced?
Absolutely. When your energy is off, it's going to manifest physically.
Mm-hmm.
So, like if your heart chakra is off, you may start having shoulder pain.
Mm-hmm.
Or if your throat chakra is off, you might have a sore throat.
Absolutely.
So, yes, absolutely. If your root chakra is off, you will have foot pain, knee pain, restless legs, any kind of referred pain that's from your hips down
Mm-hmm.
is going to be a manifestation of your root chakra being a little off balance.
Mm-hmm.
So you might also hear this as base chakra
Mm-hmm.
because it's the base of your spine. And let's see, I am connected with the energy of Mother Earth. My body, mind, and spirit are grounded, centered, and purified.
Mm-hmm.
So your root chakra, I want you to envision roots coming out of the bottoms of your feet. You are literally digging in to Mother Earth. You're digging into what you're standing on so that you find that stability, that grounding, that centeredness. The root chakra, as I said, sits at the base of the spine, and it is the color red.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the color black. So if you have a black or a red stone, today I'm working with this beautiful piece of brecciated jasper, which just means that it's a gorgeous red and maroon marbled coloring. Black or red stone, those are your protection stones. Those are your grounding stones. So black tourmaline, onyx, obsidian, any red stone. I personally love cherry quartz.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever resonates for you, if you walk into a crystal shop or a metaphysical store and you want something to help with your root, look for the color red, look for the color black. Now that's not all encompassing. There are some beautiful stones that are different colors that also resonate with the root. But another thing about the root chakra, and I'm not sure you even know this, but when you are feeling unstable and like money problems, that's a big one nowadays.
Wow.
Or you're feeling insecure in your marriage, your partnership, your job.
Mm-hmm.
That's your root chakra. Anytime you feel completely unstable and you don't know what's going to happen and you're terrified, your root chakra is the place to draw your courage. Because when you are standing on absolute solid ground, you know that you're not going to fall over.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we pull our energy for the root chakra. We want that courage, we want that stability.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to move on up into our sacral chakra. And Tammy, if you can show where the sacral is.
Well, if I can think about my belly button here, just a little bit below that belly button, right there. And it's one of those areas that for me, I find the most difficulty with. Why is that? And it's especially for most women. Why is that?
Well, that is a multi-dimensional answer there, which is why your sacral chakra, the mantra, is I love all dimensions of myself. I delight in weaving the creative tapestry that is my life. So let's break it down. You specifically mentioned women.
Yes.
When your sacral chakra, which is represented by the color orange, is off balance, that's when you're going to start having your feminine issues. Because if you think about it, that area that Tammy just showed you, that is the area where your ovaries are, that is where your uterus is, that is where the center of creation, physical creation, when you make babies, that's where that's happening. So you are literally off balance with your ability to create physically, spiritually, and emotionally.
Wow. So it's a spiritual and a physical aspect to all of these energy
Absolutely.
centers.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is your bottom three chakras, your solar plexus, your sacral, and your root are all called your physical chakras because they're the first ones that we think about as humans, the things that we need, our stability, our power, our courage, the things that, as I keep saying as humans, but as non-spiritual sides of ourselves, that's the stuff that's going to manifest. And when we're stressed out, and when our backs are kind of up against the wall, those are the areas that we're first going to start dealing with.
Right.
You've got I know me personally, right now, with all the stress that's been going on with this pandemic, I'm dealing with a lot of stomach issues. And it's because I'm unstable. I don't know what's happening from day to day. We open up our news apps and we try to figure out what's going on. And for me, I like my stuff all ordered in a row. I like things to be predictable. So for me, that's manifesting in a lot of stomach issues, and I don't like it. But so the bottom three are called your physical chakras, your root, your sacral, and your solar plexus. But going back to the sacral, we have orange calcite.
That's beautiful.
And actually, you reminded me about this. I had to go dig out my piece. Orange calcite it looks like an orange. It's this like waxy, hard material, and anytime you are feeling blocked, because let's go back to the word creation. Anytime you're feeling blocked and you can't get the words to finish an email, or you're trying to come up with a way to communicate what you're feeling artistically, that's where this comes in. Your sacral chakra is blocked and you need a little help releasing those spiritual creative juices, and when it's a physical manifestation, you need to just kind of go within yourself and remember that trigger point. Where's your passion? Where is your creativity? Something is keeping you from expressing yourself exactly as you are. Maybe you feel like you need to hide a part of yourself because other people in the world won't accept you. Well, they don't need to be a part of your life. Especially if you find yourself in a situation where you're surrounded by people who gossip or people who feel the need to tear you down to bring them up. Those are the people that affect your sacral chakra. And a lot of people, and I'm not sure we've ever discussed this, but a lot of people who go out of their way to escape real life have problems with their sacral chakras.
Wow.
People who drink to escape, and you know those people who go out every Friday night, every Thursday night, and their weekend becomes longer and longer, and every night they're drinking to escape. They're getting high, they're overeating, they're doing something to replace that feeling of passion. So if you start seeing those symptoms, if you start seeing that manifesting in you physically, let's go to the spiritual side and see if we can kick something into gear.
Also, one thing that I wanted to say about the sacral chakra, it houses our self-love. So a lot of, like, if you have self-esteem issues, it's better to deal with the sacral chakra imbalances from a physical or from a spiritual standpoint of view.
I like to go spiritual
Absolutely.
first, because once you get the spiritual all cleaned up, then 9 times out of 10 the physical will take care of itself. if you try to heal the physical first and you haven't addressed the spiritual side, you're throwing good money after bad.
Absolutely.
And I realize I'm talking like this a lot. I'm sorry. I am I'm Hispanic and Cajun, so
expressive.
it's just me, and I love all dimensions of myself.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And actually, you're leading perfectly into our solar plexus, which is our actual root of self-esteem and courage. And the three all work together beautifully to remind you who you are in absolute certainty. So your solar plexus,
beautiful area here, right up underneath the ribs. Very important, and I often find that for me, if I'm slouching, am I closing off that area?
Yes.
What are some of the signs of a blocked solar plexus chakra?
Okay, well, a blocked solar plexus chakra, you are literally going to curl up into a ball. You're going to cross your arms.
Right.
You're physically gonna look uncomfortable. Have you ever watched somebody on camera and they're like this?
Yes.
I remember when I was very, very young, every picture I took, I was like this. And I was completely closed off because I had zero confidence. And I wanted to curl up and crawl into a ball and just disappear. So your solar plexus, I love this. It's the color yellow, which I associate with gold. And the beautiful thing about gold, it's purified by going through fire.
Ooh.
You cannot get the crap out of it until you light it on fire. So anytime you are in a situation where you just are overwhelmed with self-doubt, with fear, not feeling good enough, that's your solar plexus screaming, I need some help. Your solar plexus, the mantra is my will and divine will are one. My will and divine will are one. I am connected to the abundant flow of the universe and easily manifest my dreams. So, do you remember when you were a little kid? And I know you have a twin sister, and I have older brothers and sisters. And when you're out on the playground and you're by yourself, you might be a little cautious, you might be just like, But as soon as your twin showed up, or as soon as one of my older siblings showed up, all of a sudden, I can do anything because I'm being backed up. And there's power. When you know that you're being backed up by something bigger than you are, or something that always has your back, you just jump into it first because you know that you are caught. You know that you've got that net under you. And this mantra says that I am connected to the abundant flow of the universe. So everything that the universe has, I have. I can have anything I want. I can be anything I want. And anybody who tells you otherwise is a hater. The more open your solar plexus is, that is one of those chakras that you cannot hide the light that comes from it. And I know that you personally have dealt with this before. You walk into the gym, and the gym is a place that is full of egos. And there's a lot of egos, the members, the teachers, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all, because the whole point of opening your solar plexus is to be content with who you are at any stage, and to always strive to be that much better.
Right.
And as you can tell, this is my favorite chakra because we're going to talk about it for a good hot minute.
I love this one. I really love this one.
And the people who are closed off themselves, or who haven't found their niche, they haven't unlocked their passion, and they feel unstable, they're the first ones to say, she thinks she's all that. Or
wow.
If it don't have anything to do with her, she doesn't want to have anything to do with it. My response to that is, you don't waste your time when you know you're valuable.
Absolutely.
On bull.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. So a lot about this chakra is to know that you are, and I love what some of the books say, co-creator. You know, we have a creator, but then there are things that are created through us, and we're not afraid to own the fact that we are a co-creator with a divine source. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times, and I was reading this, and it's very interesting, when we're walking, a lot of people think that our power for walking comes from just your legs, but the majority part of your power comes from your solar plexus.
Exactly.
It's the solar plexus that makes the movements that much more powerful. So when I think about the solar plexus chakra, I think about, am I owning my power? Am I walking in the fullness of my truth and my true identity, and how powerful that is? Mm-hmm. And if not, I'm blocked.
Exactly.
I'm hiding.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, I love this.
I love this stone. Crystal, I love it.
The stone that's associated most for me with the solar plexus is the tiger's eye. And the tiger's eye, I love it because it's got these bands of gold and bands of brown. And when you hold it up to the light, it shines kind of like a cat's eye when you hit it in the dark. So tiger's eye, and that is your confidence stone. That is the stone that it basically tells you, look, I am who I am. I'm gonna do what I need to do, and you can ride with me or you can get out of the way.
Absolutely.
That is your solar plexus. Absolutely. That is the best feeling when you finally feel that click and you realize, okay, the people who are talking smack about me are the same ones who want to be me.
Oh, absolutely.
They are the same ones. and I know that sounds arrogant as all get out.
Right.
They're the ones who can't stand someone else shining and they're not a part of it. Those are not the people that you want in your life. You want the people who find out that you just got a new class or you just got a big promotion and they cheer you on.
Right.
Now, I wanted to stop real quick and discuss something that it's very personal to the two of us especially, but there's a lot of people out there who think that you can't have one and the other. Now, Tammy and I are both born-again Christians. We are so in love with God. We are so in love with His Word. Everything that comes out of it, yes, we believe that the Bible is divinely breathed. We believe that He is our source. When we talk about our source, we're talking about God.
Absolutely.
When we talk about the universe, we are talking about God. So there are a lot of people, I know because I grew up in a family where my dad went to seminary and my mom was a nun before she realized she wanted to have kids. So she left the Catholic Church and became a Christian. And so I grew up with a little bit of religion in my background. And I haven't lost that. I absolutely have not lost that. I don't particularly call them chakras. I don't use Sanskrit or follow Hindu tradition. I respect it. I don't personally follow it. But the principle is the same. There are energy centers within us. There are things that get lit up. And so we don't want to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
That's why we do refer to chakras and we do refer to crystals and stones, but we want to be very, very clear. We are not saying that there is power in this stone. We believe that the power was breathed by God, and that these are reminders
Absolutely.
of that energy.
Absolutely.
We believe that without prayer, none of this is possible. So I wanted to clear that up, because I know that a lot of people in my past, in my background, are very concerned with the fact that I went from being a Sunday school teacher and missionary to now I'm teaching yoga classes, and I'm on the internet teaching about crystals and yoga, and it's a scary concept for people who don't understand it. And I know you've got some stuff about that.
I'm grateful. I mean, a lot of people have asked me about possibly just the malas and what do they symbolize? And for me, everything that I see here, just like Kristina said, is a reminder to the beauty all around us. And I respect everyone in their belief system, and am in no way trying to say, throw off on anyone and what they believe. So I just say that all of this with the yoga, it's open to everybody. I love the way that Guruma Khalsa says it. She says it about Kundalini yoga, just that awakening of your energy centers, that style of yoga that focuses on that energy found at the base of your spine, coiled. This kind of yoga can be done by anybody of any religion or no religion. The point is to come into the practices, or to come into the meditations as your truth, your true identity, as your authentic self. So a lot about this is just to try to find your authentic self. So once you know who you are and what power you own and whose you are, it's easy to just live from a state of openness. And that's basically what this is about.
Absolutely.
Being open.
Absolutely. Yeah, because if you go into the Bible, the people who stood up, the people who just jumped in feet first, they knew exactly who they were.
Oh, absolutely.
David knew who he was.
Absolutely.
And that's why he approached his giant with a slingshot and a stone. And that's the kind of confidence that you need to have. You need to know who you are.
That's right.
And you need to be able to stand up and say, all right, giants, come and get me, because I know who I am, I know what I have, and you can't touch me.
Right,
So.
it's just standing firmly and rooted and grounded. Most of this really has to do with just your connection to something bigger and greater than you. And all of us understand that, we're spiritual beings. I like to say we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and how beautiful it is for us to be able to, experience all of these beautiful things, but never let any one thing, or anything for that matter, stand in the way of who you in your heart truly know and believe that you are. There are particular things that we have to understand about being accepting to one another, and walking in love with one another. And I think the whole point is love. The whole point.
Which
Absolutely.
takes us to our next chakra.
Absolutely.
There is no way we're going to do this in 30 minutes, by the way.
That's okay.
we always have these grand plans. So our blasts are only going to be 20 minutes, and we're going to do this chakra thing in 30 minutes. We're already at the 30-minute mark, and we're not even halfway through.
We love it. I mean, this is fun right here.
Okay, so our next one is our heart chakra, which it's our heart. It is right there in the center of our chest, and it is represented by the color green. And I love this mantra. My heart is open to receive the energy of love. I radiate this essence. I walk my path with ease and grace. So the heart chakra is called the bridge chakra, and I love this because it actually has 2 colors to represent that particular chakra. Now, if you notice our physical chakras, we had red, orange, and yellow. Well, the heart chakra is also represented by the color pink and then green. And if you look at our upper chakras, you've got blue, purple, and white. So the heart chakra literally is your transition point from your physical to your spiritual. And when you are open to love, when you are open to the understanding of gratitude, you shift from physical to spiritual.
Oh, I love that.
And you allow yourself to be open to everything that the universe has. I start talking faster when I'm excited. You are open to everything that the universe has for you. You've got to be able to put down those traumas. Everybody's got that thing that sends the red flags up. Whether you have been divorced, you've been through a bad breakup, you have issues with your parents, the way you were raised, there's been betrayal, something that has caused your heart to just kind of close in on itself, to wall itself off. The minute you can pull those bricks down one by one and allow yourself to be vulnerable, to open up for love, not only do you receive love, but you can give love a lot more freely. And I don't know about you, but I firmly believe that if the world operated in truth and in love, we would be a lot better off.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not even talking globally at this point. I'm just talking about interpersonally. You know, that person that you walk into the office and they're always and they've got that stink face on, and you know that they didn't get their coffee that morning or something, and you wall off. You don't even want to deal with them. You just walk right past them, and you're trying to protect yourself, but all they're feeling is rejection. Because they've got a stink face on. The one thing they need is love, and they've got such a wall that they have completely just blocked themselves from giving or receiving love. And I know this because when you met me, I was a big old brick.
Yes, you were. You're a little hard to penetrate, but the fact of the matter is you know, when you're a carrier of the light and you use that light to positively, you know, influence others and to help others to see their worth, you started responding more and more to my calling out your Satnam to you. This is who you are. This is what I see you doing. And you responded more to that than if I were to walk up to you and say, "Hi, I'm Tammy. You want to go out for coffee?" You know, you would have said no.
Actually, I think I did say no the first time. I made some excuse, but thankfully I did get past that.
Right.
My spirit was open enough. But I remember when I first started hanging out around you, I was terrified. The first time you actually pulled me aside to have a one-on-one conversation, I remember I was so nervous that you were going to figure out exactly how broken that I was. I was shaking, I was sweating, I was terrified. And I thought, this woman knows exactly who she is, and she's got this confidence and this grace, and she's not going to want to hang out with somebody like me. I don't want to hang out with somebody like me. And I put off this air of being arrogant and being
overly,
for lack of a better word, I was a bitch.
Overly confident.
But it was because I was hiding the fear and the uncertainty, and I didn't want to get hurt. And and I know I'm saying a lot, but I know this is a point that triggers a lot of people. There's an arrogance that comes with your defenses being up. You want people to stay away from you. You want that distance. And you want that distance, and when your heart is closed off like that and you can't allow yourself to be loved, you're going to do everything you can to make sure that you cannot be loved.
Wow.
So
That's deep. Wow.
So when you're having a little trouble and your first instinct is to just say, nope, not doing it, not today. A green or a pink stone. I have a green stone today, but actually, and I don't know why I didn't bring it, but my favorite heart stone is rose quartz.
Yeah.
And I have a piece of rose quartz that's about that big because this is something I need to be reminded of, and I wanted a piece that would literally permeate my entire house. So I went out and I got an 8-pound rose quartz that's that big that sits right in the center of my house, because for a lot of people who have been hurt, who are afraid to be open, to be vulnerable, it's something you have to work on all the time. And when I am not, I'm gonna share a little bit here. When I am not in my right heart chakra moment, I'm reminded very loudly and very forcefully. I believe the last time it was, you're not a wimp, stop acting like it. So you all need that person in your life. Because I was mad. For about 15 minutes, I would not respond.
Right.
And then you asked me to get you a cup of coffee, and I'm like, oh, okay. So just have fun. Don't take yourself so seriously that you can't acknowledge that we all have damages in every single aspect of this. We all have places to grow. We all have things that we need to work on.
Absolutely.
That's the whole point. That's why yoga is a practice. Because if you did it right every single time, that would be A, boring, and B, ineffective.
Absolutely.
You have to be on your game and willing and eager to grow.
I love that.
That's the whole point.
I love that.
All right. So I think we covered heart pretty well.
That was beautiful. There's one thing I wanted to ask you about the heart chakra.
Sure.
So the physical symptoms here, if you have issues with your heart, like heart issues, heart disease, all of that, is that indicative of any closeness of your chakra?
Oh, absolutely.
Heart chakra?
Absolutely. I would like to point out this, and it seems so obvious. When you have heartburn, it's usually coming from stress. And it's because you are so closed off to dealing with whatever it is. You are so set on things going exactly the way you need it to go. And anything else irritates you, it agitates you, and you literally start having acid eating away. And it feels like your heart. I know it's up here, but it's literally eating away at your heart. When you have a heart attack, the first thing they tell you is to reduce your what? Stress.
They tell me a lot of things to do.
Reduce your stress. Get yourself support. Get yourself. So when you are stressed out, the first things this is the bridge between your physical and your emotional, because when you're stressed out, first things that are affected are your physical, and that includes your heart. Even though it's your bridge, it includes your heart. You get acid reflux, you have a heart attack, you have heart palpitations.
Yeah, absolutely.
My favorite example of this is when you see that person across the room and you're like, all right, can I go talk to him? your heart starts beating a little
Yep.
faster.
Mm-hmm.
When you are open to love, your heart literally responds when you are in a place where you're attracted to someone's energy. And that doesn't always mean sexual attraction, because it's, how do I say this without being crass? There are a lot of people out there who have sexual attraction and there is no love. Their heart
Right.
isn't in it.
Right.
And you can pick up those people right away. They just want a wham bam, thank you ma'am, and they're gone. They actually get angry when you don't respond to that, because it's purely physical. There is absolutely no heart attachment to it. There's no spiritual attachment to it. And your heart, without the physical and the spiritual coming together, bridging together, it doesn't work. So that's my favorite example of
Oh
that.
man, I love it.
So
I love it.
moving on. Oh, this is the one that gets me in a lot of trouble.
She's very open in this one. Too open, probably.
Depending on the day, yeah. I don't tolerate bull. I don't tolerate harsh egos around me. And to be honest with you, I'm an empath, which means that I feel and read energy a lot easier than other people. I can walk into a room and I can tell you who's having a bad day, who's having a good day, and they haven't said a word. So my throat chakra is very, very open, because that is my point of self-care. I will kick people out of my life very, very quickly the minute their ego gets to the point that it's hurting me or hurting other people around them. And there are a lot of people that I have just dismissed because I don't tolerate that. That is me. That is who I am. The minute that you sidle up to me, oh, you're my best friend, I love you so much, but then you're in another situation where other people are talking badly and you're not defending me or my character, bye. and that's just the cold, honest truth of it, because if I'm in a situation where I have somebody who is, blowing steam about, I can't believe, and Tammy, I have done it one too many times. People actually have learned, don't in front of me, because I have gone off, I have gotten angry, I have walked away, and then I go and I tell Tammy, by the way, these people are not your friends, you need to walk away, and you need to leave now. Because she deserves that. I deserve that. Nobody deserves to be in a situation where, and I'm going off on a huge tangent here.
No, you're right on the line.
Nobody deserves to think that somebody is their friend and then find out after the fact that they were a joke, or they were being pandered to. And when I say that, oh, you look so pretty today, and as soon as they walk away, oh my gosh, did you see what she was wearing? What? That stuff, it's so petty and it's so reductive. We are better than that, people. You are better than that.
Absolutely.
I know I'm better than that.
Absolutely.
So that's the stuff that we did when we were in high school, before our brains were fully developed. We've moved past that. So let's keep going. Politics, especially right now. I don't care who you are, where you fall on that line. Calling people fat, that's none of your business. They know. Yes, you have eyes, you can see it. Bravo for you. Now let's see if we can control our mouths a little bit. Attacking people's families, attacking backgrounds, that kind of stuff is just, it's base. I mean, it's beyond just being basic, it's base. It's the junk that's at the bottom. You are better than that. And this is why my throat chakra is so open. Because your throat chakra lets you speak your truth.
Oh, absolutely.
And it lets you speak your truth confidently, and it lets you be heard. Because you can understand what I'm saying, and you can understand exactly where I'm coming from because of how I'm communicating. I am aligned with my highest truth. I communicate with love and honor. My words echo softly within the universe.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that I say is my truth. Everything that I say is absolutely 100% my belief. But, here's the caveat. I can accept your truth. I'm not going to badmouth you for your truth. My issue is when you badmouth me for mine. That's when we're going to roll. That's when we're going to have some issues. Tammy actually was the one who handed me this little piece of sodalite. You remember handing me that?
Yes.
A long time ago. And sodalite was the first crystal that you ever
had. Sodalite.
So
ever had.
A lot of what we started with, it wasn't the base chakras, it wasn't the heart. Both of us started right here.
The throat, throat chakra.
Actually, I started one up, but again, that was you. But this is the one that broke loose first, and I was always that person that needed to, if I did let you in, if I did let you pass that little gate, I needed to please, and oh yes, awesome, that's great. It did not matter what I actually thought. I was going to tell you you were great, you were wonderful, and I was going to bend over backwards to show you that you mattered to me, which is not a bad thing, but there are some times when people need to be called out on their bullshit. Forgive me for saying it that way, but
I mean, so I was just going to ask, what about if we're talking about imbalances in this particular chakra? So people who talk a lot, but a lot of what they're saying is not coming from a place of love or coming from a place. Those are the cases where we can actually see that their throat chakra is unbalanced or overactive, because some of these energy centers can be overactive.
Yeah, and the thing is that, remember I told you that if the chakras below aren't lined up, the energy won't come through right. Well, the people who have an overblown throat chakra and just spew whatever's
like
coming
busybodies.
They're literally exposing the amount of bitterness and anger and hatred that they have in their own self. And a lot of that stems from your solar plexus, from your sacrum and your root. They don't feel good about themselves. They don't have confidence in themselves, really, even though they may seem to be confident. And they're unstable. They know that a lot of what they're showing is smoke and mirrors. So that bitterness, that bile, that, for lack of a better term, that is just pouring out of their mouth because they don't have anything else to draw from. And I know that that's very stereotypical, that's very, I had to use the word reductive again, but what comes out of your mouth, what comes out of your countenance, the light that comes out of you, you can't really control that, because somebody can talk a good game, but they're gonna slip up. But if somebody is truly in their elements, they are happy, they are coming from a place of love, they're coming from a place of stability, you can't hide that. They're not gonna slip up. We're all human, we're all gonna have those moments where we just say enough, but they're not gonna slip up and expose another side to their face.
Right.
I mean, literally the term two-face.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have two faces and be in line.
Right. So and the whole point of all of this is to teach all of us really how to live, number one, from a place of love, number two, intention, catering that intention towards love, and number three, living from a place of depth. A lot of us we haven't developed that depth in anything. So I was listening to you say something about we have nothing to draw from if all of this is off, and we're spewing stuff out of our mouth. We've got to go back to, creating depth and allowing ourselves to be open to those things that help us to, live with depth and to have that depth created within us. And without being, open to stuff like yoga practices and, taking your yoga practice for exactly what it is. It is a practice. It's not perfection. A lot of the times when we get on the mat, the thing that we need to just say to ourselves is this mat is my mirror. It's showing me all the dimensions of myself, which I should love, as opposed to I can't do this pose like she does, or I can't do like she does. And so it causes people to, internalize and despise their practice, because after all, it's not me. Well, find a part of you on the mat that is you. Find a part in your life that is you. For me, I have to be careful with my throat chakra. Sometimes I can be a little bit forceful when I talk. And a lot of people will say, stop being so angry. But it's not anger, it's passion. If I'm pulling from a deep place within me, what comes up out of me 9 times out of 10 is passion. When I'm really, really angry about something, you won't feel that passion. But when I'm very, very passionate about something, I make sure with my voice, the tone of my voice, or sometimes I make sounds when I'm teaching, and a lot of people think, why is she doing that? It's because I believe in what it is I'm giving out to people, and I believe that what's working in me is a place of love, and that love is just springing up and out into the world. So we need to really, really and truly help everybody to understand that this is not something that we should be overlooking in our lives. Because if we want a better explanation as to why a lot of things are going on right now, it's because people are walking from a place of ego. The ego is too big, and there's no depth in their character for love. There is no intention. We say anything that we want to say. There's no intention. We do everything that we want to do. So we have to really pull back and understand that, listen, you're missing the entire point. Like I said before, the entire point. I love this song by Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers. Love is the only law to obey. It all comes down to love. And I absolutely adore this. This for me helps me. I look at how all of this helps me more than I look at how it helps other people, because what I'm saying, I have to be the first partaker of this before I can actually look at you and diagnose you. I know when I have an overblown ego. All right, calm it down some, sweetheart, because there is enough room in this world for everyone to shine. And we can learn from everybody. I can learn from anybody. Now. But when I was in high school, I was accused of being a little arrogant. Yeah. At that young age, arrogance. Sometimes my mother has to pull me back in. You arrogant.
Hey,
but
you had to pull me in.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I didn't know anything yet, and I didn't realize I was being arrogant. I was just telling you what you didn't know. it, we realize we both have gifts.
Oh, yeah.
And Tammy actually introduced me to a lot of spiritual things that I was afraid of because of my Christian upbringing. I was afraid of spirituality and crystals, and I remember the first day you handed me, here it is.
Oh, yes.
When the first day that you handed me this thing, and I was looking at it going, okay.
I didn't know what.
I didn't realize the look that I had on my face, but I was told about it.
Absolutely.
I had this, what the hell, kind of look on my face. So I stuck it in my pocket, and I couldn't stop thinking about it, but I was afraid to touch it. And I had to go online because it would not leave me alone. And I was open enough, which is actually going to bring us right into our next chakra.
Absolutely.
I was open enough to realize, okay, I don't know anything about this. I've just been told that it's a bad thing, that it's an evil thing. And I know Tammy, I know she is a Christian, I know her faith. So if she's giving this to me, she doesn't consider it to be bad, so I need to learn a little bit more about this. And I didn't want to ask you because I was still in that arrogant stage, and I didn't want to come off as ignorant. So I went and I read about it, and I was trying to figure out, okay, what's the purpose of this? And 5 years later, here we are.
Absolutely.
I have more crystals in my house than I know what to do with, and every time I go looking for one, I find things that I either didn't know I had or I forgot that I have. And it was just cracking open that eagerness to learn and to realize it's not evil. Anybody who says that it's evil, it's coming from a place of ignorance. And I don't mean that to be mean, because there are a lot of beautiful people who are so in the Word of God that anything outside of it kind of scares them, which I understand completely. But these are rocks, they are minerals, they are crystals, they were formed in the earth. The earth was formed by God. The Bible even references these crystals and gemstones.
Yeah.
They were used as symbols of protection by the priests in the Old and the New Testament. They were embedded into the shields of the kings. So if the Bible takes the time to say that the king's shield was embedded with red jasper, which we know is a protection and grounding stone, why would it be considered something evil? Because I'm not putting any power in
absolutely
this
not.
stone.
Absolutely not.
No, I'm not putting any power in this stone, but I am reminded of the fact that through heat, pressure, location, and circumstance, we took nothing, we came up with this beautiful thing. This is a piece of amethyst, by the way. I do know the name of it. This is actually the first piece that I ever got, and I know where it is at all times. I have not lost track of it. I even knew where it was when it traveled to Tammy's house. And I knew exactly where it was. It took me a while to get it back, but
Yeah, it did.
Anyway, we've got 2 more chakras left. Please hang in there with us. Thank you for making it this far. I know we talk a lot, but we're passionate about this.
Love the stuff.
All right, so our third eye, which is right here. See this space between your eyebrows? Go up about half an inch.
Absolutely.
Your third eye chakra. My mind is open to new vision. I expand my awareness through my higher self. So, and that leads into what we were talking about is you've got to be open. You don't know everything. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. There's a lot of people who need to hear this. You don't know everything. You are not the end all be all. You are not the goddess of any particular thing. The minute that you decide that you don't have any more room to grow, you don't have any more room to learn, you die.
Absolutely.
Everybody learns something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it does not matter what religion you are, what you practice, it does not matter. If you're not learning, if you're not growing, you are stagnant, and stagnant means death.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, third eye, represented by the color either dark blue or purple.
Mm-hmm.
I like purple, but I'm a little biased. So I have about 75 pieces of amethyst in my house. So your third eye is right there. You see a lot of people when they're stressed out, when they're trying to block out what's going on. You see them do this.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a tension headache, the first thing people do is rub their temples and the center of their head. That's because even if you know nothing about your chakras, you know that this is a major pressure point.
Mm-hmm.
This is the place that when it's open and it's open wide, you read people, you read the room.
Mm-hmm.
I remember how many times as a little kid, my mom would have to kind of grab me by the collar and pull me back because I didn't know how to read the room yet. And I would come in and I would say something completely outlandish, and it was the truth, but it was something that all the adults knew. Okay, we're not talking about this. Like, I'd walk in and, oh wow, Miss So-and-so, your hair is blue. And she had just decided to let the silver, grow out, and anyway, her hair was blue, and that actually did happen. And everybody else was just kind of going to be gracious and let it slide. And I even then, my throat chakra wide open. But I didn't have that intuition. I didn't have that ability to filter out and just not say it. And that's something that develops with maturity, and that's a very basic example. But when we mature in our spiritual walk, our third eye opens. We are aware of exactly how much we don't know.
Absolutely.
We are open to learning everything we can.
Absolutely.
And I guess Tammy once again is my example of that, because y'all, she brought me into this world, but when she has a question about crystals, I get that call.
Mm-hmm.
And she's open and willing, even though she trained me,
Right.
She's open and willing to learn from me,
Right.
and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
I still go to Tammy all the time, because there are certain parts of our spiritual practice that, I don't know, I'm really bad at, and I have to go to Tammy and say, okay, I can't tell if this is my ego talking or if it's my spirit talking. And she has this look that she'll look at me and she'll say, do you really think that your spirit is telling you to go and tell somebody that they're an idiot? So I have to get reined in quite a bit all the time, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fine with that. There are things that I need to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Tammy is my mentor. She taught me everything that I know, and I love it when I can share something with
Absolutely,
her.
I can draw from that well. I mean, she's basically, Kristina, you've taken this whole thing and you've run with it to a point where I'm eager to come to you and see what your take is on a lot of this stuff. And it's very, very beautiful to see you working in your truth.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Aw. Well, as I tell you all the time, you're the one who drew me into this, and you exposed a side of spirituality that I didn't know existed. Because you can only grow as, like a fish can only grow as big as its tank.
Oh, absolutely.
And when you grow up in a environment where you are taught, okay, these 66 books, if it's not within these pages, it doesn't exist. But you don't interpret those 66 chapters, books yourself. You let somebody, chew it up and regurgitate it to you.
Absolutely.
You don't have any basis to explore anything else. And that was something that once I actually got past the stigma and was able to actually look at it and go through, because y'all, as I said, my dad went to seminary. My mom was a nun, but they met at church. I was 2 days old and I was in church. I went to a very prominent Christian high school where we were taught theology all 4 years. We were taught world religions all 4 years. I've been ministering since I was 12 years old. I've been around the world ministering. So this is not something like I grew up in the church and I don't really know what I'm talking about. I've got a pretty good understanding of what the Bible says. I have a pretty good understanding of what other religions are speaking about. And as soon as you take away that stigma, that fear that you're going to be labeled as a bad Christian or a fake Christian, that's coming from people who are afraid or ignorant. Sometimes it's a dangerous mix of both. But you realize that there's nothing that the religions don't share amongst each other. A lot of the religions, and when I say that, the Hindus and the Muslims and the Christians and the Jews, Muslims, Christians, and Jews, we all started out together. We are all descendants of Abraham. So it's not like it's not like we have no basis to compare each other. But every worldview has a creation story, and they're all pretty similar. We all have a flood story where our deity, our God, just said, okay, you guys are not getting this. I'm just going to wipe it out and start over. And then felt bad about it afterwards. They all have different names, but they're all the same thing. I don't know about you, but I call, coffee something very different than somebody who lives in Colombia or somebody who lives in India. It's all exactly the same thing. It's just got a different name. So, I would implore that if you are afraid of any of the stuff that we talk about, put the judgment aside for a second. Put the fear aside for a second. And I want you to listen to what we're saying, because what we're talking about is making yourself better, opening yourself up to something that's bigger than you, which we're supposed to do as Christians, as Jews, as Muslims, as Hindus, as Buddhists. And by the way, Buddhism is not, it's a religion, but he is not a deity. He never said he was. Please stop. No, again, throat chakra wide open. Anyway, the long and the short of all of that is we are all here for the same purpose. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, but that is my name for my God. Somebody who has never been exposed to that particular name, or has not been exposed to a rosary and calls it something else, you can't say that they're wrong. You can't say that they're evil, because the energy is the same. The intent is the same. The intuitive knowing that there's something bigger than me that made me, and I need to be a good person in line with, and that's a very bottom level way of thinking. Because when you start getting into theology and you start breaking into, the difference between Presbyterianism versus Baptists, how am I trying to say this? We complicate things. That's the word I was looking for. We make it so convoluted because we want to be smarter, and we want, they're actually saying this. Well, oh no, I believe we're actually saying that. Stop it. Just stop. Yes, have your theological debates if you want them, but be good people. And I know a lot of this is probably going to get edited out, but I just needed to say it. Be good people. Don't judge me for my walk. I'm not going to judge you for your walk. I'm not judging you for yours. If Christianity doesn't vibe with you, okay, I understand that. Find something that vibes with you, that draws you out of yourself and sees you as part of a, not just global community, but a spiritual community. Anyway, that actually leads us right into our crown chakra, which is our 7th and final chakra, and I feel like I have been talking this whole time.
Well, I tell you what, it's interesting that you said that all of this leads you straight to your crown chakra, because you know that with what you just said and everything that you just said took us right from our root all the way now to the crown chakra.
It's all connected.
Everything. Having that firm foundation, what you believe in, and having your security based on something, moving from that to your self-love, housing your self-love, loving yourself enough to embrace, beauty around you, to embrace, something that really just enhances your depth. And then moving from that, owning your power, getting to know your power, and then moving from that, being open to receive love and to give love, acting from a place of love, no matter what you're doing. And then from that, knowing who you are, not being afraid to be open, to be teachable, all of that leads right into the crown chakra. And what is that crown chakra exactly?
Whew. All right, we have made it. Final, 7th and final chakra of the 7 main chakras. Your crown chakra is right here. If you were to follow your spine up through your neck, it comes out, well, it doesn't actually come out, but metaphorically it comes out right here at the crown of your head. When you're born, all of the bones in your skull are not fused together. They're all malleable. You can move them around to make birth easier. That spot where all of the fontanelle, that spot, that is your crown chakra. And it's interesting because your crown chakra mantra is, I'm connected to the divine source of the universe. I'm connected to God. I am light and I trust.
Absolutely.
Every religion that I have ever, every spiritual thought believes that you are more than just a corporeal vessel, a body. You are a spirit inside of a body. And that spirit just doesn't generate the minute that you are formed in the womb. That spirit comes from, and for us, it's from God. It's in heaven. And the theory, and I believe this, the theory is that spot, the bones don't fuse, and babies who cannot communicate with this world yet are still communicating through their crown chakras, through that open fontanelle with God, with the angels, and they're starting to learn, okay, I'm not here anymore, I'm here.
Right.
And it's, take it for what it is. For me, I think it's adorable, and I think that it makes sense, because our spirits, our souls do start in one place, come down here, have our earthly experience, and then they either go back up or go back down or move into something else, depending on your worldview. So your crown chakra is literally your connection with the universe, your connection with God. And it is the purest, most complete connection, which is why clear quartz, white,
Oh yeah.
anything white, anything clear, that is going to be your connection with your crown chakra. Clear quartz is called a master stone because it does a little bit of everything. It cannot absorb negative energy, and it cleans. So if I get one of those icky feelings, I guess you'd call it, being around somebody that you know their spirit is so out of whack, and you feel that coming onto you, you can take selenite, you can take clear quartz, you can take any clear or white snowy quartz, any clear or white stone, and literally use it like soap.
Oh yeah.
And
it's a bath.
Just get rid of it. But your crown chakra, when it's open, that's when you not only know that you are not alone in this universe, you feel it. You feel, when you were little and there were the two of you and then your baby sister, did your parents, because my dad did this all the time, did your dad, to keep you, make sure he knew exactly where you were, put his hand right on your head and just kind of walk with you? My dad would do that when we were like in a mall, and I was too old to be in a stroller, but not quite old enough to be trusted to not bolt because I saw a gumball machine or something. He would put his hand right on the top of my head, and I didn't realize until I was much older, when he took his hand off, I would get scared. And that circled you back down to your roots.
Absolutely.
Because when you realize that you have that stability under your feet, but then you also have that guiding hand on your head, you have a confidence about you. You don't have to worry about somebody being in your blind spot, because you've got something bigger than you guiding you, making sure that you know that, okay, this is the path that we're gonna take. All right, we're gonna go to Sears now, so we're gonna go over here. And that palm of that hand sitting right on the top of your head, there's a comfort, there's a knowing that, okay, I'm good. All right, that looks scary, but I'm being guided there. So I'm gonna be guided through that. There's gotta be something good on the other side of that. And that's how I see my crown chakra. I'm remembering my father holding onto the top of my head, and because my dad was a big dude, he was 6'3", and when you have a tiny child, he can't hold my hands without my arm being like this, so he just put his hand on my head. And that guidance, when you feel your father, even my dad has been gone for a couple of years now, my heavenly father, I feel him guide, and for me it manifests like a palm on my head. Turn your vision, because I'm stubborn, you know that. I'm stubborn, and I will blind myself to anything but what's directly in front of me. And sometimes I need somebody to turn my head and point down a direction and say, no, you need to go over there. You've been stuck here long enough, you need to go that way. And the way you do that is you turn your head and go forward.
Very, very nice. Very nice. I really enjoy just listening to you open up about all of this, and it's just a little extra something for all of us to incorporate within our practice. Just stay open and know that there is absolutely nothing wrong with embracing your truth and your true identity, and not only working on physical well-being, but this is actually helping us with our spiritual well-being. Remember, as Baron Baptiste always likes to say, the whole is the goal. And that's what we're trying to do here, is to look at the whole man. And when the whole man is right and secure, that's when you're happy. That's when you're healthy. And that's when you're living your best life. Coming from that place of depth, coming from a place of gratitude, everything balanced. We're gonna have challenges on a day-to-day basis. But this is a great start for anybody that just wants to come up in to a knowing of who we are spiritually. This is excellent. Excellent job there.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good job.
Good job.
We did it.
All right.
Now, if you want to know a little bit more about chakras and you want to actually have physical books in front of you, this is a great beginner text. This is Chakra Healing by Liz Simpson. I will put the link below in the description. And basically it goes through a lot of what we just shared with you is going to be in here. It's going to give you crystals. It's going to give you meditations. This is the best part. It gives you yoga poses. So it shows you not only what the chakras are, but how to open them up. Now, as you can see, this is a pretty thin book. So we get led to also pull out the big gun. The Chakra Bible. It's thick. It's got about 80 pages of information for every single chakra. This is by Patricia Mercier, and again, link in the description below. And it goes through the emotional issues, the physical issues. It goes through the stones. It goes through foods that are associated with your chakras, as well as yoga poses and mantras. And it also goes into the different world beliefs that go along with every chakra. So that's it. If there is something that we have not covered or you want more information, below we have our email, we have our Instagram and Facebook. I blanked there for a minute. So it's KristinaLyonsPT@gmail.com. I am on my phone constantly, so I see emails pretty quickly. Fit Body Bootcamp with Tammy is our Facebook page, and then Tammy and Kristina Work Out is our Instagram. So we are open books. if you have any questions, if you would like more information, even if you want something like a spiritual or a physical plan, sit down, talk with us. We'll be happy to work with you. All right.
All right, girl.
We did it.
Okay. Peace out. We love y'all. Thank you so much.